How you guys doing? Greetings, programs. This is Let's Code a Full 90, where we'll take the next hour and a half digging into some source code and try to make our part of the world a little bit of a better place. I'm your host, Rob Metching, and today we're digging into the Wix toolset. Today we're digging into what we've been digging into the whole time, the Wix toolset. We have a lot of stuff to cover. Mostly, we're going to backtrack a bit and then go forward. Hopefully, we'll see. Maybe we'll take the whole time backtracking. That's okay. It'll be a fun thing to go work out in the realities of software development. So what are we doing today? Let's go jump back to the all-important to-do list. I'm going to bump this up one more big. There we go. We're starting with a oops. I don't know. Is it an oops? I think I knew this was still out there, but I got so excited about moving forward that I forgot to go back and work our way through. So one of the issues of not finishing anything completely all the way through is that sometimes I forget we have to run through the whole everything before we jump into something else, because we get halfway or we get done with something halfway through the 90 here, and I'm like, oh cool, let's go jump to the next thing, but we don't finish everything out. And that's what happened with the remote payloads. Of course, this is the thing we've worked on for 3 or 4 weeks or 4 weeks or something like that, and it's back again. This is the change to make it such that if you specify authentic code hashing, you don't also specify a hash, and that's for many different reasons that we're actually gonna get back into here. And of course, I knew when we did this, we had some remote payloads in Wix that were certificate validated. That's honestly the root of this whole feature coming back in Wix 3 or in Wix 4 when we were going to take it out. The .NET framework is validated via certificates because they changed the binaries on the remote URL without changing the URL and all the implications that has. And of course, that means that in our own build, we are using the certificate public key. And before this change that we're working on, we also specified the hash for that thing. And thus this code for the .NET Core, I don't know why this is a .NET Core, .NET Framework and .NET Core is all busted. So we need to go and fix that. Also, while we were out, Sean was nice enough to go back and dig into episodes and found the episode where he was certain his memory is correct, and I honestly don't question Sean's memory because his is much better than mine right now, where we did talk about using both the hash and the certificate combined. So if you remember, I was like, oh man, when we pick this value for the cache ID, which then gets made part of the path, I was really worried that it was super, super long. And I was like, no way did we pick something where we're going to combine the hash, which is already super, super long, and the certificate and stick it all together. Well, no, once I went back and re-listened to it, there are reasonable reasons to bring the certificate back, which means we need to go back into the certificates, into the generation of the cache ID in the remote payload command, and update it to include the hash plus certificate. And we're going to have to truncate. We're going to have to make things smaller because that path is going to end up, if we take the two of them, we're going to end up with, I don't know, 200 plus characters in the name of the path. And that will be bad. That will be entirely too much used simply by our cache, because then that means that on normal usage, for example, the Windows installer doesn't like paths over max paths, so you'd have 260 total. We'd be taking 200 plus, so you'd get less than 60 for your entire files and everything relative. Clearly, that's not going to work. So we're going to have to crunch the or reduce the hash and the certificate down a bit when we do that, and stick it together. Fortunately, these are hashes we're dealing with. They're SHA hashes, which are known to be have good randomization distribution throughout the string, which means we should be able to take a chunk of the string and use that with another chunk of a string and still have really high uniqueness within that. So we'll have to pick how many characters we use, but that's where we're going to start. And then also in that call as well, Bob pointed out that it would probably be better that rather than using a bunch of random, clearly hash-generated strings, that we should pick a cache ID that people would recognize for the NetFX package groups. So that if someone wants to take and look at our logic, which is something that people do, like, oh, I want to use NetFX, but I want to tweak a couple things, they can look at our logic. It would probably be better that they saw a cache ID with a specified value or something that looks purposeful, so that the chances that when they copied it, then they'd all get the same binaries, everything ends up in the same cache, and we reduce the number of times that the .NET Framework has to be downloaded. So all of this was add on to that other package or that other conversation. So we need to go in and first fix up the remote payload generation to include both the hash and the cache ID. And then we need to go in and fix up the NetFX Wix extension so that it will build properly. And then, and only then, will we be able to start catching this up. Or checking this off, resolving this issue. So let's go ahead and do that. I forgot to bring up Visual Studio. Let's go pop up Visual Studio, open it up, and drop ourselves into the Wix build. And we're gonna go look into the burn backend, into the where is the subcommand? Where is my remote payload subcommand? Oh, it's in the command line. That's fine. Remote payload subcommand. This is what we want to go look at. And if we go look at what this generates for the cache ID, let's go search for cache ID. We used, if there is not a certificate thumbprint, if there is, does not equal null, then we're using the hash. And the purpose here is to instead combine the two of them and then come up with something that's not insanely long. Let me go ahead and switch myself into streaming mode so you guys can see my favorite NCrunch. Oh, not enabled. I wonder why you got clean. Probably because I did a clean somewhere along the way and cleaned up all of his state. All right, go ahead, enable, kick NCrunch, and we're gonna let that thing crunch away while it's over there. Crunch away, terrible, terrible. All right, let's see, what do we need to do? Well, we need to take the payload symbols, hash and certificate, and I don't think that's actually on here. Gosh. It's been so many weeks, only a couple, and I've already forgotten all the bits and pieces. So let's look at the payload symbols certificate hash beginnings. Payload symbol, let's see. I want to see, so I'm just trying to figure out the best way for me to get the certificate back for this hash value. Payload symbols version, yeah, and that's the payload symbol. And I'm pretty sure the payload symbol hash, will it have the certificate thumbprint? It will. Certificate public key and certificate thumbprint. Okay. So we add that attribute, but we don't actually set it on the symbol. Interesting. So we don't update the symbol with this information. Yeah, see, this is what I was worried about. I remember we had to do a lookup to get the hashes for the different files and all that kind of good stuff. So that means that we're probably going to need to pull the value out of the attribute, I guess. All right, so let's just say we did var cache ID equals the hash plus, I'm just going to put something in between. Doesn't matter right now, just so I can see what we get in the end, and I'm going to lean on our test to go find the value. So I want this attribute's value. Let's see if we get what I think we will get. Boom. All right, cool. And hey, look, a test failed. That's what we want to see. And we can now see that this cache ID, that was that many characters. I'm gonna go drop this over into VS Code, new window. All right, that is, let's see, column 129. Gosh, that's 129 characters already. That means you have, what, 130 left for out of 260, 131. Whew, so you have 131 left for your, dang, I'm not sure if these cache IDs are gonna stand up to the test of time. We'll see. All right. And then we're going to drop the new cache ID that we're getting. And that's up to 170. Yeah, because this is just a SHA-1 hash inside these certificates. Still, 170 is quite a bit. 170, that leaves you, what, 90 characters left for your path? Also not counting the C:, typical program data package cache. That's what I think what Burn calls it. Is there a space? I forget. There's probably a space. And then put that on the end. 198. So you get, yeah, so you get about 60. 198, 200, you get 62 characters for your path. That's not going to be friendly. So we need to pick less. The question is how much less? I don't know. The SHA itself is 41 characters. 0, 1, 2, 40 characters. All right, I'm gonna do my trick here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Copy that. Yeah, okay, it's 40 characters. That makes more sense. It's like, it should be 41. It's because of the cursor I'm at. 2, 3, 40. Yeah, all right, there we go. It helps my brain from having to do a bunch of math there. All right, so that's 40 characters. And that's probably why we were comfortable using that in the past. 40 characters isn't too bad. But we're using, what did I say here? 128 characters on column 129. Yep, so 128 characters. That still feels like a lot. So if we took 40, see, all this is just guessing. I don't really know how much math I'm worried about here, or how much I'm reducing the effectiveness of this hash anyway by dropping it down. Essentially what we're worried about is by, you know, this has some infinitesimal small chance of colliding with anybody else, and this much of it has a similar small chance of hitting, but not, well, not similar, another small chance, but not as infinitesimally small as the other one. These are all C3PO numbers here. And if I stick these two together, what character do I want to use to stick them together at the same time? Dash? I don't think I want to use a dot. That can get kind of weird with path, because it is going to end up in this path here. Dash isn't too bad. Definitely can't use slash or things like that. I think I want to use something. I'll go with, I think I want to use dash. Probably use the length of V3 hash is 40 or half 64. Half of 64. Oh, of the 128. Yeah, I have the two of them. So, yeah, so this now is 82. We could go down to 40. And then this, that's 61. How much space do we want to give everybody else? Let's look at what 64 looks like. That does sound kind of interesting. $93, so we've left them 160 characters at the end-ish. 160 plus 170. Yeah, okay. So if we use 40-ish characters, I don't know. Do I need a separator? I'm putting a separator in there. Like, does that really tell us anything? I mean, it's not like these are meant to be looked at anyway. The only thing it's doing is kind of showing us that, oh, hey, by the way, we stuck these two things together, but it doesn't add any value. It's going to be a non-unique character in there. I probably should just get rid of it. All right, so if I get rid of that, then it's just a matter of how much do I want to pick from each of these. That's 40. So I took all of it to be 80. If I took half of it, we'd be back down to 40 again. So we could take this and this in this case. And that looks like this. Sorry, this is when I'm looking at these sort of things, sometimes just laying them all out in a notepad or a text file or whatever, sometimes just help me visualize what we're talking about, what it would look like in the system, and kind of thinking about, yeah, you know, and it's all kind of arbitrary. So here we're down to 70, which gives them 190-ish. 40 selected. Oh, that's really nice. Thank you, code. This is one of my favorite features now. 40 selected. That helps me a lot. All right, so that's what 40 looks like. So we have reduced these hashes by a fair bit. Is there any fear that we're going to get collisions in these, chopping this small of a piece of this whole thing? I don't know. And the certificate thumbprint. Well, let's go ahead and put the code in, because we know we're going to take some slice of it. Oh, sorry, I need to make this bigger. There we go. I'm not going to put a funky character between it because seriously, who cares? All right, substring, I want 0 to, we're doing 40, no, 20 at this moment. And we're going to do 20 of that one. Wow. Let's see, so that gives us a cache ID of that, which is much smaller than the other cache ID, by the way. Which makes me think maybe we should go do that for the other places that we're putting these in. Maybe get a consistent number here for the cache IDs. Consistent number of characters. All right, and this number here, this is the same as in my notepad of this one, right? Whoop, 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 whoop. I wanted to copy this part here, please. So that looks like identical. Perfect. And that leaves them 190 characters, which is definitely better than the opposite, where we left them 70 ish. Chance of collision. That's essentially what we're mitigating here. So 64 would look like 32 twice. We'll just take the same number from both of them, I guess. And we'll take this and that. Will look like that. I don't know why, but this number looks bigger. Tautology, Rob. 64 is bigger than 40. But I mean, this in the payload cache looks bigger. It is. 93, yes. So now we've pushed them down to 160. I don't know why that extra 24 mat feels like more. Do we feel safe at 40? That's what V3 was using? V3 was using 40 because it was using SHA-1, right? Yeah, it was using SHA-1, so it was using 40, which is the same as what that is. And here we're using half of each of these hashes with the 20. This feels dangerous. 128 characters. That means that out of 260, you only have half left. That feels dangerous to use that. So probably for the generated cache ID, I wonder if we should keep it down to 40, which is 20 for each of these parts. I don't know, that feels safer. It also feels like we've survived V3 without people hitting lots of max path. As far as we know, lots of people not hitting max path problems with the 40. So as long as we're not hitting cache collisions, which is of course a thing that we will have a very hard time measuring. What's the chance that out of these pieces that we will collide with somebody else's change? All right, let's pin you, jump over to it. What test are we looking at? Oh, that one. Yeah, there we go. That's expected. I wish I was 100% comfortable here. Let's go look at where the cache IDs are also set. So if it's set, oh, what is this? I don't care about this code. No. I don't care about this at all. I really don't want to search all this. I want to search just inside this project. Let's jump back over here. I don't need to search the entire solution. Nope. Cache ID, just the current project, please. Let's find all those. So we do have the duplicate cache ID, but this is only going to catch it with inside the same bundle. Still a good thing. Here's we're setting it to the symbol, so we need to go see where the cache ID gets initialized. So that's the bundle ID. That's fine. I want the ones that are from the hash. This one. Can be defaulted to the hash. And the other one, there's another one that gets defaulted to the hash, the MSU. So these guys are currently getting set to the length of this? Yeah, that right now, right? Yeah, that's the hash. So it'd be something like that. Yeah, the 150. That's, yeah, essentially we've taken half of the path. As opposed to, yeah, it's essentially everything again. Oh my goodness, look at that. What? It now thinks it's Go? Why does it think this code is Go? That's crazy. Or this code. It's not even code. This is a random text file. That was silly. All right. Yeah, see, it's actually more than the length of what our old path was again. I wonder if that says that we should trim these guys down as well. How many tests am I going to break by doing this? Don't know if we have tests that check the manifest, the bundle manifest. Oh, there's one that does check the bundle manifest. So this, I just want to see it fail at the right place. Oh, no. Oh, good. I was wondering if this could happen. I'm glad. I dropped this in here to partly to see if it would just hit, and it did. So the hash in this case is that. Okay. Oh, the hash is that? Oh, how did the hash become A? Oh, we probably wrote it. I see. Yeah, this is remote payload. Okay, we wrote it by hand. Just put the hash in there. Okay, well that's good. I figured that was going to be too easy to just drop that in there. Is this the right thing to do? Oh, not 2040. Anyway, still gonna break. So many things going through the head. So if it's greater than 40, then do that. Otherwise, just get the hash. this the right thing to do? Trim these things down to 40. Do you guys have any thoughts? Like, is this the right thing? Should we trim these hashes to 40? I am a little worried about V4 subtly springing cache path here by default on all these things. Yeah, okay, I'll have to get more changes. Sean's made more changes, that's fine. But is this a good thing to do? Because I am a little worried of us adding that or taking that much more space. What is that? 87 characters. Well, we've added whatever. That's 40. Yeah, so 88. That makes more sense. 88 characters. We've essentially taken 88 characters out of the path that they don't get to use. I don't know. The 20 characters seem awfully small subset of the original. Yeah, I don't disagree about the 20. All right, let's hold the 20 for a second. What do you guys think of the 40 though? A small increase seems tolerable. Well, to be fair, this increase is more than anything we had before. 64. I mean, we could go to 64. Well, so the 64. So there's the one where we're taking two hashes. We're taking two subsets. One part of the subset is from the hash of the file, and then the other subset is the hash of the certificate thumbprint. So that's the one where we're taking smaller slices of these two hashes and sticking them together. So I think it's kind of like, what is the amount, higher level question, what is the amount that we should feel that a hash should take in the package cache? In the past in V3 it was 40 because we're using SHA-1. I think Bob said we could go to 64, so that would be, let's go the other way. 64. I mean, that looks like that. All right, let's see. That's 40. I don't need two of these. Oh, I already had 64. So weird. Anyway, so that's what the old one would be. That's what the new one would be. We would be taking the extra 24 characters. Yeah, in the two hash subset case is more 32 from each would be 64, right? And we could take them independently. We could take more from one hash and less from the other if we wanted. The question is, like, essentially how much do we want to say that we eat out of the path that you don't get to use for the remainder of whatever else stuff you're going to put down here? You know, your MSI plus a whole bunch of subdirectories with files, or now, MSI is probably not the best case since most people cap things in MSIs, but it's that kind of decisions, like how much space do we want to take in the package cache in V4? And once we have that, like if we say 64 feels like acceptable, then we can talk. That means we should take 32 from the two hashes, or we could take more from one, 40 from one, 20 from the other. I mean, I don't know that it matters at all. Although if this is a SHA-1, maybe taking less from here is less of a problem. So we could take 20 from here and take 40 from the other one. It's all just games, really. None of it's perfect. The only thing is I'm quite confident that perfect, which would be the whole hashes, is 168 characters, and that's just too big. Tricky. decisions. I know that the big one's too big. The question is how small. 64, which leaves them 160 plus a little bit. I'm gonna look real quick. Program data, package cache. Yeah, right. Package cache has a space in it. All of these have a space in them. The longest path in my package cache today is 159 characters for what it's worth. That's kind of interesting. I just don't know. Strong opinions one way or another. It doesn't matter. So changing the length, I mean, because we switched to SHA-2 hash, it doesn't matter. Things are going to get recached because SHA-1, SHA-2 would create completely different caches. So, all right. So let's say 64. All right. I need to figure out how I'm going to do this here. I don't like all these characters floating around. Where to put this? Let's see. Package payload. All of that. All right, what do we have here? So what I'm looking for now is that this has always been kind of like on the edge of a function that it's been almost too big for its britches, too big to be duplicated. And now that we're getting these numbers in it, I'm really thinking it's not good to just have floating out here. I just don't know where else to put something that's shared between these two, between the MSU and the XE package. I'm looking for anything that'll help me. Because we have a whole bunch of different commands. And there's the package facade. I wonder if I could... Facade, does this have... No, this doesn't have any functions on it. Besides it's on the package symbol that I'm working with. Oh no, there's the facade. So I am dealing with the facade a little bit. Where do I want to put this code to share it between the XE and the MSU? All right, let's see here. If we're validating the package via a certificate, cache ID must be specified in the source code. And that's what this is telling us. I could put on the package facade. It doesn't feel like it quite fits here. Kinda, because it's not the same for all of these. I don't know where I want to put this. The MSI package cache ID. Yeah. If we don't specify it, it gets set like that. I don't know where to stick this code. None of these are helpful. All right, let me see here. So if the cache ID is empty, then I want to, Let's try this. Let's see if we said this dot facade dot default cache ID to hash. MSU package. Because I'm pretty sure the rest of this is the same as the exe package command. Yep. Yep. See, the tricky thing is that this isn't. This is only on these things that are that allow the certificate public key, and it's specific to the exe package cache and the MSU package cache. And let's see, I could create a remote payload helper thingy. What do I pass in? I guess I pass in the facade. I have to pass in messaging. There's all these things you have to pass in. Actually, I have to pass that in anyway if I was to move this up. All right. Let me just do something here real quick. Remote payload. Yes, remote payload. I don't have a good name. I'm just gonna call it this for a second. Let me see if I can get this right. Static, I think. I want to take all of this code. Actually, can you do this for me? Can you extract that? Thank you. That is what I wanted. Now, let's go ahead and make this work. Error messages I can get. I need the messaging, which makes sense. Let's see how this looks now. Messaging. Oh, of course it had the facade. Let's just pass in. Oh, the package payload and the facade? Yeah, I guess I need both. Okay. Package symbol cache ID. No, I can return the cache ID. All right, there we go. That's what I can do. Let's just see if this looks. Wow, that was leet. No. All right, and then return cache ID. This dot messaging. Remote payload helper. That up. All right. MSU package then does the same thing. And all that goes away. All right, so that centralizes all that. I need to name this thing. I still don't know what to name this. This is, if the cache ID is null, it's not really remote payload helper then, is it? It's the calculate cache ID from hash. From package payload hash. Oh, it's a really long name. And this is used in two places, shared between these two packages. And what are we saying? We're saying these, so there's this part about the public key. If we're validating the package via certificate, the cache ID must be specified in source code. If we're validating, then the cache ID must have been specified. Okay. I almost want to put try at the front of that, but that won't work. Validating package by hash. Yeah, okay. So this isn't about remote payloads. If we are validating the package via certificate, the cache ID must be specified in source code. And that's always true. We don't do remote payloads for other things at this time, but just kind of the only way this happens. All right, let's see. What are these two things? These are XCs and MSUs don't have better IDs. That's really the problem I'm hitting here. Is that I don't have a better ID for either of these. It's just, I don't know what to call this thing. And I haven't gone over all of these to know if there's other things I could put in it that would give it a better name. All right. For the sake of moving forward, I'm going to leave this name here and know that I need to come up with some better name. And I'm just not going to be able to figure that out here in front of me. Yeah, I need a better name for get default cache ID. Yeah, I mean, could do that. Get default cache ID from. Yeah, so it's tricky because I don't want to call it default cache ID because it's not the default cache ID for all package payloads. It's only for the XCs and the MSUs, which is why I think where I'm struggling here. If I got a better name here, then get default cache ID would maybe work. That's where I'm struggling. It's like, this would be fine if I could get the concept of package payload thing up here, but that's where I'm struggling. That's where I'm struggling is what are the names of these? No, okay. Are we still building? Let's go with that. Let's see how it goes. All right, it's just a naming problem. It's only one of the hardest problems we have in the world of things, but in the world of software. But because even and here, for example, here's a bad name or a thing that should have a better name that I will go back and do at some point, not right now, but that's just an example of, hey, let's get the names right. And here I'm struggling with the right name for this thing. But with this magic number in it, I want to not have it split. Before I was torn before. I was like, should this code be centralized or not? But with this magic number in here, I definitely want that to be in here. And let's go, probably can be defaulted to hash with a reasonable upper limit. Since the cache ID ends is in the cache path. Yeah, capitalize this. It's in the cached file path. There we go. I think it would be helpful for one class to have all the methods of calculating a cache ID, including the remote sub command. Okay, so if we, so that's was where I was going to go back next when, yes, here, Rob, and then here, when I started thinking about how many characters go in here. So if we're up to 64, this is 20, so that's half of it. 20, that means we can have 44 of this one. Let's go look at 44, right? 20 and 44? 44, 4. Man, I really like that selected thing. Look at this. I mean, it's the same as 64 up, duh. All right, that'll end up looking like that. So 44 is out of 168. A third? Not a third. Fourth? Not a fourth. Yeah, so somewhere between those two. So let's say we did that, because 20, half of this one feels decent, and whatever left of the other one. So let's go look at the remote payload then. The remote payload command. Find my substring in here. And I think I said 44 of that and 20 of that. So that would be that. So, I mean, we could take this. Let's see. What do I want to take? I want to take the... I really just want to send the payload symbol in. Let's go debug this real quick, because I want to verify my theory that the payload symbol here was not updated to include the certificate information. Yeah, there's the hash populated. Certificate thumbprint public key is null. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. What if we populate that? So go down. That's setting it. Where is that code that populates? Yeah, so that's these two guys. Certificate hash for payload. So we try to get a certificate hash for the path. So if we do, okay, let's also, while we're here, package, not package, payload. Oh, but this doesn't have it. Oh yeah, it does. Okay, good. So we could put that on there. There. Now the symbol will be populated correctly. This doesn't matter. I'm going to use the payload symbol here because everything else uses the payload symbol. Sorry, this is the certificate thumbprint. Certificate thumbprint, certificate public key. There we go. There, so populate the payload symbol with this information. Basically we said, all right, for this payload symbol, we are going to use the certificate for it. Let's update the payload symbol. That feels right. That means then when I go back to my previous code, I will have the thumbprint here. Yeah, so let's debug this again and make sure that we have the certificate information in this payload symbol now. Yay, it's there. Okay, that feels better. So now that we have the payload symbol, because I don't really want to grab it off of the it just doesn't feel as orthogonal, I guess I'd say, to grab it off of the attribute. Plus now the symbol is updated the same way the hash is updated, and that's all good. Not value. There we go. That should give us the right answer. Okay, and we have the right answer. We just have more. It's longer. So let's go ahead and say that this is the new value of 44 and 20. And that's this value right here. Okay. Okay. So now this 44 and 20 are similar to our other numbers, but slightly different. So here, don't know what to call this. Let's see, what happens if I extract a method? Yeah. Oh, that's not what I thought it was going to be. Okay, that's not what I want. I want it to be the payload symbol. My bad. My bad. That did not work out the way I wanted it to. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, I'm seeing it now. All right, so this then we could pass in the payload symbol, and that's the same thing we pass in here. Wix bundle payload symbol. There, now we can get these things to be orthogonal to each other. Or orthogonal, I don't know, that's not the right word, is it? Similar enough. Okay, so then extract that method. So then with that method, we're gonna say, put it over here. Internal class, these things are the public parts of it. And we're gonna say now, the cache ID is the remote payload helper of the package payload symbol. Okay. That'll give us the same answer. Now we're just stuck with naming problems. This is calculate the cache ID from payload hash and certificate. Hash and we're just gonna call it thumbprint because that's more like it. Okay, anyway. I didn't hit F2. Okay, I still don't have names for these things. This is the thing I'm struggling with. I'm putting these ginormous names in here because I don't have better answers here. All right, so let's see. If we say, I want to say, use 20 chars from the thumbprint, since that is half of a SHA-1 certificate of a SHA-1 certificate of a certificate's SHA-1 thumbprint. Use the rest of reasonable upper limit, I guess, reasonable upper limit for characters from the hash. I don't know if we're going to change these because I don't really want these. I kind of want these tied together so we're not sliding around independently. Man, I am not naming things well today. It's just not happening. Oh, I need to check the lengths here too. Ah, okay. Why does it always have to get so complicated? If the certificate thumbprint is empty, that's busted too. Well, so let's go here. Math dot max, yes, reasonable and no math dot min. Reasonable and payload symbol dot certificate thumbprint dot length. Take from hash equals yes, just reasonable upper limit for cache ID minus the take from thumbprint. I think that's the right answer. This is really dangerous doing all this math on it. All right. Oh, math dot min, comma, payload symbol dot hash dot length. There we go. Which it shouldn't be like, this is mostly going to catch any test cases where I put in hand values of A or whatever. None of the tools are going to generate any of these things. And what's this? Reasonable count of chars from certificate thumbprint. Why didn't I press F2? All right, it's just in one place, right? Okay. All right, I don't think I need the comment now. All right. That hopefully keeps everything kind of in sync together. Hopefully keeps things in sync together. This name is still busted. That's not a very great name either, but I'm hoping if I get this name, then these will come together for me. Okay. So what did we change? We didn't change anything really, except the way that we calculate these cache IDs. So I think that means we can head over to the NetFX code now and get that fixed up so that it has not these calculated values, but GUIDs. And let's go look at the values here. So we need to go look at, let's just look at the whole folder here. Code, this folder. All right, new Visual Studio Code. Is it gonna remember the sizes? Yes, it is. All right. And the error message is saying netcore x64. It's all in here. All right, let's look at this file. Why is it only this one that's having problems? And the issue is on line 24. So there's the certificate thumbprint. There's the certificate public key. Is it just the fact that we're adding the hash? No. All right, what am I missing? Read the error message. Exec package hash attribute cannot be specified. All right, so there's a hash here. Oh, I see. I jumped from that. Okay. Yeah. So we don't want the hash. But now we're going to need a cache ID, right? That's the next error message that comes along in a little bit. This XE package payload. This XE package is going to need a cache ID, right? Okay. Let's see. Let's go into this folder too. So I fixed one. Let's see if I can just build. 39 and 54. Look, we're not going to have the hashes. We know that. Let's get rid of the hash. The hash is a thing of the past for items being validated with a certificate, by certificate. Let's run this real quick. And now it tells me cannot be specified. Wait, did I? Okay, line 24. Oh, x86. Really? It failed on the first one and stopped going, so I only get one at a time. I wonder why the build bailed on the first set of things and didn't keep going. That surprises me. It's a little disappointing. All right, let's see. So let's get rid of the hash. Hash equals. Yeah, you have a certificate thumbprint. You don't get a hash anymore. And you have a certificate thumbprint, I think. Yep, you do. All right, there we go. All right, and now, okay. Now I'm getting a little surprised at this behavior. Why did NFX build fail? Oh. Okay, I have a thing. After each architecture. And I think I have the answer because they're separate builds and we are telling it to bail after the build. I just want to look real quick. Too many Visual Studio codes open. Normally I only have one. The NetFX Wix proj. Yeah, there it is. So we build, nope, that's the VCX. Where's the Wix proj? That's not it. That's going to be referenced by the, oh, I need to look up. That's the Wix up. Duh. The NetFX command. How are we building this? .NET that. Build. Restore this configuration. The Wix extension build. And let's build that. So it's just running this solution. Why is it stopping after each few commands? It's like it's not continuing with the next file. I would have expected it to keep going with the next file. All right, I captured this in a to-do. I want to get past this, but I felt after each architecture built. Okay, I'll come back to that because that's not the behavior I would have. It's not the one I wanted by default. I wanted to find all of these errors across all these files. That's only finding them one at a time, which means that I'm like going through these one at a time. Okay, so let's do this. Let's look for all of these, everything in here with hash equals. Yeah, see, we're just now in 462. It's like the order that it chose to build them. It should have gone through all of these files and told me about them. It must. That bugs me. All right, I'm gonna have to come back and look at that. Maybe next week, or who knows? Maybe we'll have time this week. Where am I? Where's my cursor? Fine. This line, where is it? Thank you. Let's see. I'm gonna do a quick test here. Leave one in each. There we go. Find that one. Thank you. We'll come back and build. It's only going to show me one file. Zoom. Yeah, only 452. Oh. All these things cannot be specified when the attribute source file is present. Okay. We can't override these. Set the defaults. Net 452. What? Oh wait, is source set? Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Net 452 line 47. No, I'm not. This is the right one. Oh, there it is. There's the file. Why can't that be set? Seems like we should be able to override them. Because this says that we want to use these instead of those. Huh. Oh, you think it's because I need to put... Is it because I have to put the hash back? All right, let's see. I'll put the hash back and see if that makes a difference. If it does, that's a really bad error message. No. Cannot be specified when the public key is specified. Certificate. All right, now I'm not looking at the right line. Line 33. Line 30. I'm looking at the wrong file now. Yeah, net472. Okay. Oh, no. Really? Wow. 452. This is not. All right. So many things now that are popping up all at the same time. Okay. Why are all of... All right. Why did XE package payload, right? It was XE package payload. Yep. XE package payload complain that this description and others cannot be set when source is provided, but hash was missing. So that's I could see us catching some error path through, but the error messages have to be better because that totally did not point in the right direction. All right, so man, I'm ending up with more things to do than getting done. Let's see, did I blow this one up or fix it? Let's see, back to the build. Oh my goodness, so many things. 472, line 33 and 55. 472, 33, yep, and 52, or is that, did it finally give me a different file name? Oh, 55, that makes more sense, 55. Thumbprint was not found as required when a certificate public key is... Oh, did I mess that up and delete the wrong thing? That's entirely possible. Let's bring back. Files changed, and 472, 55. Yeah, I got the certificate thumbprint. Bad deleting. It's easy to do when my font is so large and everything slides over. I could turn on word wrap, but then nothing would fit on the screen. All right, let's delete the hash, leave the certificate thumbprint this time. There we go. All right. This is terrible. Yeah, see, I should have got all these in one go. This is not good. Not happy here. Okay. So many builds to get that around. Okay, so that left me with two with hashes, where you specify the source file name, I guess, and it will get the files for that. Bad. All right, and if I delete this hash, oh crap, it ran the tests. I didn't even look. Okay, yeah. So if you remove the hash, all kinds of things happen. Okay, not good. I will end it with more work to do. Okay, let's go look and see what tests started failing. Oh, yeah, this is the expected part, right? Tests are now saying, hey, X package has to have a cache ID, because that's the whole point of what we've been doing. Yep, when the attribute certificate package is specified. All right, so we need to go and give these things a cache ID. think it was correct that the hash is required when you specify those other ones. Let's look at the error message again. Description, attribute was not specified, source file, source file, source file, source file. So yeah, all these messages unfortunately are in the case of they always talk about the source file and then not being able to specify these pieces when the source file's provided. And it goes away when you add the hash. So there's definitely something goofy in the handling of those error messages when there's no hash. It's not good. But there is no source file. There is a source file, I thought. Oh, yeah, okay. I thought I found, oh, I probably searched and found it. Yeah, okay, that's the problem. I found a different one than a source. All right, that's just the name. Okay, well. When hash is missing and others, why did it be set? When hash is missing and source file not present. I don't know, have to go dig into that. Something weird happening there. All right, this is the one that I was expecting the whole time. And this runs all the tests, so did I get all of them? Nope, just the ones, all right, but it's just testing probably this one. All right, and we're not getting an error because it's not happening until link time. Right, and this test is attempting to use this net core, so we're not gonna see the fact that it needs cache IDs on all those other places. That's gonna be fun. All right, so we need to come up with cache IDs here. Now the question is, what cache ID do we use? SourceWix3. I don't even know what I have in here. SourceWix3 source extensions, NetFX extension. Let's go back into V3 code and take a look at the Wix libs and let's just see what it was using. I don't think we're going to find many answers. I don't think it had a cache ID. No cache IDs in here. So this is just using the hash in the past, because that's what it was using in V3. So one option would be to continue to use that in V4 as the cache ID. So that V3 and V4 shared the two of them. Does that have bad side effects? It's not quite a GUID. It's not quite a identifier that someone might see and be like, ooh, that's not the one that we should use, or that we should use that. It is just a hash. But it would end up being reusing it. But using the hash would break the whole point of appending the certificate info. But we're not appending the certificate info to the cache ID for these NetFX ones. We're coming up with a well-known ID for these NetFX ones. So one option would be to reuse the well-known ID from the V3 ones, which in this case is the hash. Or we could go and create a whole new namespace of names, I guess that makes sense, and start from scratch. I don't know if there's any value in trying to stay with the backwards compatibility of the V3. Good. That's a problem. The well-known ID is going to collide with people that aren't using a certificate validation. Okay. All right, well, we can go to GUID. Hopefully that's something that people see. And Bob, when you say GUID, do you mean curly braces and dashes all? Because lots of things in the package cache have curly braces, because that's what bundles have been doing. And MSIs, we kept the curly braces. Just a random number? Well, if I was to use a random number, I could use a name then of, we could use a real name, NetFX472, and then stick on a GUID or something. It doesn't have to be a GUID. It could be a hash. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter at that point. We could do that. Is that better? If we're going to stick a name on it, then at least we could say, hey, look, there was a well-known name there. Or is that leaning people down towards the, and yes, an unqualified name would be fine. Yeah, I'm an unqualified name. Unqualified name even without a hash or some unifier gibberish on the end? I don't have strong opinions on what things to use here. So we can just pick them. Oh, unified, not unqualified. Ah, very good. Unified name. All right, well. Okay, so we need to find all of the ones that have certificate thumbprint. That will do. Net core for both architectures, net 4.8, net 4.6.2, net 4.7.2, and we're not doing that for net 4.5, okay? Net 4.5 is hash based only. Can't say I know the reasoning behind that, but that's fine. So then the exe package, we'll put it early, cache ID equals this. Do we do that? NetFX 472 redist? That's the one then, right? Does this show up more than once in here? No, because this is the redist one. Is there a web one in here? I forget. Oh, unified. So I need something after. Is it a GUID? Still incorporate the certificate. Certificate's actually pretty good. Yeah, I like the certificate. Let's go grab the certificate. Certificate, thumbprint. Ah, I like that. Yeah. Do I need a dash? How many characters am I at? Going back to my previous concern, I think I have plenty of room because that's a SHA, whatever. I say that. Oh yeah, great. So that's fitting within the 64, right? This is the 64 one. I mean, come on, just count. That's 55. That fits within 64. I could also take the dash out and just stick it on the end. I don't really want to use dots. I think I'd rather use a dash than a dot or an underscore. I don't know. I don't have strong preferences on any of these things. Underscore? I don't know. Dash, so it's, I don't know. Do you guys have any feel for this? Dash is not a valid Windows installer identifier. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Or underscore, yeah. I want to avoid dots in general just to get out of the whole file name and extension space. I'm just not to play in that space at all. So underscore's good. Underscore's fine. All right, there's two of these. Okay, so that's one. So there's the first cache. Come on, use the editor. Oh, okay, did I get the second one? Okay, I I did the second one. The first one is presumably the web one. Yes. And this needs to be different because it came down from the web, right? So it's the small lexi and then it lays out all the rest of its stuff. For sure, MSI and bundle packages using underscore already. Underscores. No, the MSI for the cache IDs and MSI is just using dashes. It's just a GUID straight up with curly braces. So it's not even nothing special there. Just GUIDs. All right, so if we use that identifier, kind of like that, so then that's netfx4 set whatever web. And I should check to make sure that this cache ID is the thumbprint is the same. It adds the version to the product. Right. So it's the GUID V and then the product ID. That's what it's in the cache today. At least that's what it is in V3. No dashes. Okay, so that's now the certificate thumbprint is now used in 4 places. Once in the certificate thumbprint and once in the cache ID. All right. Yeah, I kind of like that. I think that looks great. I think that looks great. And the version, and no same version. Yeah. Oh, I mean, there are dots in there. I don't know if I want to put more, I don't know. I don't want to encourage the use of dots for identify. It doesn't matter. Dots, underscores. Honestly, I like the look of this underscore with the certificate thumbprint after it. I think this looks good. I think the thumbprint is a good idea. Now, is this thumbprint the same? And this is the Redist one. Gotta make sure I get these numbers right. Yay, no. Come on, grab this, copy this, control that. There we go. Okay, so the certificate thumbprint is the same across the netfx things thus far, which is good, I guess. I mean, that's what you would expect. I missed the space on the wrong side. All right, there we go. Okay, that's the Redist with the, and now we're gonna go do the web one. Web ID, not the Redist, the web. I don't know, should we not put Redist in the word? Should we just do netfx 462 and then netfx 462 web? I don't know. What do you guys think? Does Redist make sense? Is it a good thing to put in there? We could just do net 462 and then net 462 web. I don't know. I guess we didn't in the ID. I don't know. What do you guys think? Which way should I go on that? I can go either way. Clearly, mash the package group ID. Sure. Not that the same people will see them. Okay. It fat fingered the page up. Let's go. Home. And now we're doing 48 Redist ID. And we're still doing the same hash. Yep. Okay. And 48 web. Not 49, Rob. 48 web. That hash. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Now we're down to net core. Uh-oh. This doesn't have a number in it. That's gonna be a problem, isn't it? This ID should probably be should have a name in it, right? Not just .NET Core. Shouldn't this be 3.1? Oh, this is weird though. Yeah, so what are we doing here? This is the one for 3. Yeah. What do we do with the .NET Core ones? And these guys may not have the same hash, do they? Nope, they don't. They have a different certificate. Interesting. Right? thumbprint. Thumbprint, Rob. Yeah. Thumbprint. Yeah, that's interesting. So I don't know what name to use for this quite. Oh, and this is x86. What is this? This is desktop. Netcore 312, and then but I have to put x86, x64 in these. Cause and the right, and these are all side by side, right? This is still side by side world for .NET Core. So they all need their own separation. I keep putting that in the wrong spot. ASP .NET Core. Man, this side-by-side decision of theirs is interesting. All right, so the thumbprint looks the same. And this is now x64. Yep, x64. Then desktop. And then the last one is just .NET Core. Oh, the variables, these resolve to? Yeah, that's a good point. What are these resolving to? All right, what does this resolve to? Oh, whatever's getting included into. Course. Did I not find this, please? Thank you. I want to see where it's defined. Yes. 3112. All right. Yep, you're right. The variables will work very well, except not that. That's awfully long. How long is that? I don't know. Does it matter? Let's see. I had a little, yeah. So then 3112, redist, platform, x86 underscore, and then hash. I guess we know the things that are going in here, and we know they're not like super deep, so it's probably fine. Right, so it's probably fine. We don't have to worry about the names then. Yes, that actually will be much better then. Then I don't have to do nearly as much. Although I could use these. All right, where was I? I was here. Here. Where's my ID? There. Yeah, okay. And these aren't that, these don't have really deep paths. So even if we take a little bit extra, it's fine. Yep, okay, that's the right idea. There we go. Better idea. Thank you, Sean. Now all I have to do is drop the correct variable in all those places instead. ASP.core core needed previous ID. Boom. And the other .NET Core. This is x64. Grab this. ASP.NET. Cache ID is this one. Cache ID is that one. And then this last one is that cache ID. There. Now it will match the outside. One last build. See if I got all that right. At least most of it. Boom. All right. Well, it's been 90 minutes. That was fun. We have a bit to verify that all this stuff actually took and worked the correct way next time around. So we'll do that in a week. In the meantime, you know I'm coding, so you guys do the same. I'll talk to you later. Bye.